United States.
Hello, Wisconsin. It's great to be with you. There are a lot of people on this call tonight. I'm thrilled to talk with you today about the critical decision Americans will make on November 3rd and the path forward to our country and for victory. This election is about the very survival of our nation. This is the most important election. It's a choice between the safety and patriotism and prosperity offered by our movement and the anarchy, chaos, crime, socialism promised by Joe Biden and a group of people from the very, very radical left that have taken him along for the ride. Yesterday, Joe announced that his advisors had chosen Kamala Harris, the most liberal senator in the Senate, and a member of the Senate, not necessarily the one you'd want to have, but one that we like as an opponent because she folded up very badly in the primaries. In the primaries, she was expected to do okay, and she ended up not even going through the first state. She ended up leaving at almost zero vote. Her voting record was less than and considered further left than super socialist Bernie Sanders. She had the most socialist record. Harris supports defunding the police, and she cheered LA's decision to viciously slash the police budget. Kamala also said she opposes putting more police on the streets to protect community safety and reduce violent crime, and even suggested that suburban communities are safer because there are fewer police rather than the fact that they have fewer crimes. The fact is that they want to take the police out of suburbia. They also want to approve low-income housing for suburbia. I ended that. Harris is one of the first Democrats to co-sponsor Bernie Sanders' single-payer socialist takeover of health care. It would be a disaster, which would cost $32 trillion. That's more than our country makes. That's more than our country has on a gross basis. Would cost more than we have. Bernie Sanders tried it with his own state, and it never worked. Never even came close. They never even instituted it. And it would bankrupt our country. Medicare for seniors and all of the things that would be destroyed. You would lose Medicare for seniors. She said that she supports eliminating private health insurance, and 180 million people that are very happy with their health insurance would lose that. They'd no longer have their doctor. You've heard this before. They'd no longer have their plan. Harris is a co-sponsor of the insane $100 trillion Green New Deal, a socialist takeover of the entire economy that would eliminate oil, coal, natural gas, virtually everything. It would obliterate our country. It is the work of a child. Along with Joe Biden, Harris raised her hand and pledged to give taxpayer-funded health care to illegal aliens. She supports open borders, which is crazy. And as you know, we're building a wall, and we're doing very well, among the best records ever in terms of stopping other than the people you need for helping you with your farms. We stopped illegal aliens and very dangerous ones from coming in. We're up to almost 280 miles of border wall. It'll be completed around the end of the year. She raised her hand in supporting decriminalizing. She wants to decriminalize illegal border crossing. She voted no on the wall. She fought us like wild on the wall. Now you don't hear anybody talking about the wall because we won. And she said yes on deadly sanctuary cities. She wants to release essentially what happens. They release violent criminal aliens into their custody and onto the streets. Kamala Harris embraced an unconstitutional religious test to prevent Catholics from serving as federal judges. She voted in favor of extreme late-term abortion and supports taxpayer funding of abortions nationwide, and she supports confiscating guns from law-abiding citizens. She will either obliterate, get rid of, or do something with your Second Amendment, probably try terminating it if I don't win as president. I have totally protected guns and your Second Amendment along with many other things. If Biden and Harris get into power, they will destroy America. We will never let it happen. Our stock market would crash. our stocks, our 401ks, our jobs, everything would go down. It would be worse than 1929. With your help, we're going to win this historic victory. We have no choice. As you know, Joe Biden refuses to come to Wisconsin next week for his own convention. He canceled it. He's not even going to pay, and now maybe after he hears about this call, he will, but he's not even going to pay the respect of at least making a stopover. The Democrats are once again ignoring the incredible people of Wisconsin, and that's something I never did because you had the best year you've ever had last year, and you're looking like you're going to have it again this coming year. But they're going to ignore Wisconsin just like they did in 2016. They never even went there. I love the Badger State, so many friends there. I'll be there, as a matter of fact, on Monday and many times throughout the campaign and beyond. I want to thank some of the great Republicans who are fighting right by our side. Senator Ron Johnson, who's a warrior, he's a champion. He's incredible what he's done. He's looking for the corruption and all of the horrible things that took place with regard to spying on the Trump campaign. We caught him cold, and Ron Johnson's a big part of catching them. And he's working very hard and very smart. Great guy. Congressman Jim Sensenbrenner, Mike Gallagher, Brian Stile, Tom Tiffany, Glenn Grothman, and GOP Chairman Andrew Hitt. Great, great people. I also want to recognize two terrific candidates for Congress who are going to do tremendously well, Derek Van Orden and Scott Fitzgerald. So these are all great people. They're warriors. They're all warriors, every one of them. They've been with me all the way. So hopefully you'll get them all back into office, and we won't have any difficulty because we're going to take back the House. We are going to literally take back the House, and that's looking like more and more it's going to happen. So we'll have the House. We hopefully hold the Senate, and we're fighting hard for that. We have to fight very, very hard for that. But we'll hold the Senate, and we'll definitely hold the White House. We achieved record low unemployment for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asians, women, young people. Every single group, people with a high school diploma, without a high school diploma, college students, high-level PhDs, every single group was a record in Wisconsin. And as I said, it was the best year in the history of Wisconsin by far. When the China virus invaded our country, we had no choice but to shut down our economy. We saved millions and millions of lives. And then we have to reopen, and now we're reopening, and we're setting records in doing it. We gained 9 million jobs, and that's a record. Wages have increased nearly 5%, and retail sales have risen again at a record pace. We're looking like we are going to be doing a very, very strong, if you call it anyway, call it an arrow straight upward. The numbers are phenomenal looking for this quarter. This current quarter, we're setting records, and we're going to have one of the best years ever, maybe comparable to what we had last year before the plague came in. Should have been stopped. They should have never let it happen. Congressional Democrats are blocking additional China virus relief. They're demanding bailouts for badly run blue states. That's run by Democrat governors and Democrat mayors. And they want to ban voter ID, and they want to ban stimulus payments. They don't want you to get stimulus payments. And we're doing just the opposite with my executive orders. They want to release the dangerous criminal aliens and convicted felons onto the street. I refuse to let Democrats hold America hostage. That's why I took the executive action, signing executive orders to freeze evictions. We're freezing evictions. It's not their fault that China let this happen. Provide an extra $400 per week in additional unemployment benefits. Suspend payments on interest on student loans. So we're going to suspend payments on interest and student loans and create a very large complete payroll tax holiday. Under my administration, China would be held fully accountable for its lies and deceit that unleashed the China virus upon the world. America is winning the war against the virus. 3 vaccine candidates are in the final phase of clinical trials, and we expect to have a vaccine available before the end of the year, far ahead of schedule, and there's never been an administration, would have been even years, close to where we are. We've done in months what the previous administration or any administration would have taken years to do. And we'll be having a vaccine very soon. It's coming out really well, and we're going to have therapeutics, which, frankly, to me, even more important. You'd get transfusions in a hospital, or you'd get a shot, and you'd get better. I think it's the most important thing, and we're very close to having that final answer also. We're also speeding the development of the hundreds of new therapeutics and treatments that we have, and it'll be delivered through our U.S. military, the greatest in the world. They're going to be delivering it. Everybody will have access to all of this new product very quickly. Through the Paycheck Protection Program, we provided nearly $10 billion to over 87,000 small businesses in your state, saving 1 million Wisconsin jobs. Wisconsin had your best year. You would have had a year that would have been horrible if we didn't do what we did. We've also delivered more than $5 billion in economic impact payments straight to Wisconsin families. And we're restoring law and order to Democrat-run and badly run cities that allowed rioters to run wild even this weekend. And we're not letting them go into other areas. And in Republican cities, we have no problems. We don't have the problems. They have massive problems, whether it's New York or Portland or Chicago. You see television just like everybody else. The FBI has opened 300 domestic terror investigations. We stopped them from knocking down statues and monuments. I signed into another executive order giving a 10-year prison sentence for anybody that knocks down a statue or a monument. And it's an incredible thing what happens, but all of a sudden it just stopped. You're not surprised. I know Wisconsin. I know you're not surprised at all when you hear that. So that just stopped. By contrast, Joe Biden would flood our neighborhoods with dangerous criminals by abolishing cash bail, if you can believe that one. He'd also totally support sanctuary cities, which are a disaster. Last year in the region, ICE arrested more than 6,000 criminal aliens. That's in your region, charged or convicted of heinous crimes, including rape and murder. Biden would set them all free. That's what they're looking to do. We're protecting Wisconsin farmers and manufacturers from unfair trade. When China targeted our farmers, we provided $28 billion in relief to the farmers. We replaced a disaster known as NAFTA with a brand new USMCA, which is already turning out to be a great deal. NAFTA was one of the worst ever. And dairy exports are expected to surge by at least 50% in a very short period of time, and you already see it happening. We're bringing vital medical supply chains back to American soil. I recently signed an executive order requiring government agencies to purchase essential medicines from American sources. So we're moving it back, and I got elected, or as one of the very major things, I got elected on that. I'm the first president to lower drug prices in 51 years, and I signed an order that will be giving us favored nation status so that we will be able to get for the same prices as the lowest country in the world charges, whether it's Germany or anybody else. We get the same prices. That'll lower prescription drug prices by 50, 60, or 70%. The bad news is that they're taking big ads about me, and they're trying to do anything they can to defeat us, along with China would like to defeat us, and Russia would like to defeat us, and everybody would like to. Iran would like to. They would own our country if that happens. They would. With Joe Biden, they'd own our country. If we get elected, which I think we will, based on what I'm seeing, but if we got elected, we will have a tremendous, what we are doing is incredible. If Biden gets elected, China will own our country. The Iran deal will be a disaster. It'll turn out to be a disaster. And frankly, they're all waiting to see what happens on November 3rd. If we win, we'll have a new deal within months with Iran and anybody else because they're just waiting. They would much rather negotiate with sleepy Joe Biden. We're requiring government agencies to hire American. The Tennessee Valley Authority, you heard all about this catastrophe, replaced 20% of its American technology workers with foreign workers. So I fired the board chairman. Now the layoffs have been reversed, and they just announced they are hiring all of the workers, the previous workers, the American workers back. We've invested more than $2.5 trillion in our military, and that is a record. And we had a depleted military, a military that was in sad shape, and now we have the newest, best military in the world, and all of that equipment is made in the USA, including 2.5, and we invested, think of it, 2.5 trillion, but we had a big new contract with Marinette Marine in Wisconsin. They're going to be building new warships, and they're building them really well. It's a great company. I was out there about 2 months ago. A great company. We now have over 280 miles of wall, and that's what's made the difference in terms of our numbers on the border. Which are fantastic now. We passed Veterans Choice and Veterans Accountability, and we've gotten rid of a lot of people because of accountability, which nobody thought could be passed. Whether it's choice or accountability, we've gotten rid of a lot of people that didn't love our veterans, and now we have a 91% approval rating from the veterans, the highest number by far in history. We're working with governors to safely reopen our schools in the fall, and I'm also fighting for school choice. You have to have school choice. Every parent should be able to send their child to the public or private, charter, religious, or independent school of their choice, and we want to do that, and the Democrats are totally opposed to it, because they're totally in the pocket of the unions. We passed the largest package of tax cuts and regulation cuts in American history, saving the average family of four more than $5,000 per year. We've ended the war on American energy, and we're now a net exporter of energy, and the average gas price nationwide is roughly $2 a gallon, and even less in many cases. We'll be appointing by the end of this year in excess of 300 federal judges and Court of Appeals judges. Think of that, 300, that's a record. Federal judges and Court of Appeals judges, including two great new Supreme Court justices. And it's been an incredible moment, because people have said that the appointment of judges and Supreme Court justices is the most important thing a president can do. Frankly, I think maybe what I did with our military was even more so, but you could also go into the great trade deals we've made. We had the worst deals ever. We have now great deals. Biden has been an absolute train wreck on joining with Bernie Sanders with his manifesto. I call it the Sanders Manifesto, which means that Joe, who's a puppet of the radical left, is now running as the most extreme left-wing candidate in the history of our country, with the most extreme running mate in history. Biden has vowed to defund the police and take away your guns. In Biden America, you and your family will never be safe. Hopefully you'll never get to experience that. Biden supported every globalist attack on the American worker, from NAFTA to TPP to the horrible South Korea deal and China's entry into the World Trade Organization. America lost nearly 10,000 factories while Biden was vice president. He was a disaster. He voted for the war in Iraq. He voted for mass amnesty. Now Biden wants to raise your taxes by double and triple and quadruple in some cases, pack the courts with radical far-left judges, destroy your 401ks, your stocks, and everything else, indoctrinate your children with some of the hate that you read coming out of the schools that we've ended, open your borders and rip down the wall. He wants to abolish borders. He wants to stop all deportations, end prosecutions of illegal border crossers, support sanctuary cities, incentivize illegal alien child smuggling, provide taxpayer-funded lawyers for illegal aliens, provide government health care for illegal aliens. Think of that, government health care for illegal aliens. Everybody is going to be incentivized to come to the United States. They get health care. They get college. He wants to free community colleges. He wants to give free community college for illegal aliens. End all travel bans, including from jihadist regions. I instituted the travel ban on China when the virus was looked at and seen for the first time. And I instituted travel bans, and it was approved by the United States Supreme Court. Grant mass amnesty. He wants to end it. Wants to grant mass amnesty, end cash bail, releasing very dangerous criminals onto the street, increase refugee admissions by, listen to this, 700%, refugee admissions by 700%, incentivize prison closure, and provide free federal housing for former prisoners, mandate net zero carbon emissions for homes and offices and all new buildings and power plants. Your electric bills would skyrocket while China will still keep on polluting. He wants to end school choice and abolish charter schools, eliminate single-family zoning, which would abolish the suburbs, would destroy the suburbs. And as you know, I ended low-income housing going into the suburbs, which for men and women living in the suburbs, it's the greatest thing that ever could have happened. If for any reason he wins, he's going to put Cory Booker, of all people, in charge, and they're going to double up and triple up what they were doing. They were destroying large sections of our beautiful suburbs. So with your help, we will defeat Joe Biden and the radical left Democrats, because that's what they've turned out to be. Everyone's winning in Congress in their primaries, it seems to be. They beat Elliot Engel. He was a Democrat, a liberal Democrat, and they beat him with a radical left Democrat. And they're knocking off a lot of the saner Democrats, and it's turning into a radical left party. But we're doing a lot about it. We will unleash the full power of the American economy. We have to win on November 3rd. We created an unprecedented economic miracle, an unprecedented miracle, I will tell you, economically, and we'll do it again. We had the greatest we've ever had prior to the plague coming in from China. We'll shut down illegal immigration, and we'll finish up the wall. We'll be tough on China, demanding accountability and fair trade, which we've been doing. We're taking in billions and billions of dollars of tariffs. We never took in 10 cents from China. We'll bring medical manufacturing and critical supply chains back. We'll root out anti-American bias in our public schools and colleges. We'll end big tech's assault on free speech. We will defend your God-given rights to bear arms. We will protect your Second Amendment. We will protect your right to have guns. We will protect your God-given and defend strongly your God-given right to bear arms. We'll support the heroes of law enforcement. We'll defund sanctuary cities. We'll create an immigration system based on merit. They come in, they love our country based on merit so they can help us. We'll bring in our troops, and we're going to bring them home from Afghanistan and all these faraway lands. We're in the process of completing it all. We brought in thousands and thousands of troops. We're bringing them back home, and we're going to end the ridiculous, endless wars that we've been fighting for 20 years in parts of the world that most of you have never even heard of. We'll drain the Washington swamp. We'll continue to do it. Nobody's done it like I've done it, and it's not easy. You can see that. We got people that caught us in an illegal witch hunt. They were spying on the Trump campaign, and they got caught. That includes President Obama. That includes Vice President Biden and all of their minions. They got caught spying. It never happened. Probably the worst political crime in the history of our country. But we're going to make America great again, greater than ever before. So I really appreciate the support from Wisconsin. We won it in 2016, and I think we're going to win it again based on what I'm looking at and hearing. I want to thank everybody. So if you can, get out and vote. So important. This is going to be the most important election in our country's history. There's never been anything like this with the radical left. They have gone totally, and they're crazed. They have gone totally wild. You look at what they're doing in different places. But we'll stop them. We'll make our country greater than ever before. Thank you very much, and we appreciate it. And Wisconsin, I appreciate all of that support for so many years, and I've reciprocated totally, and I appreciate it very much. I'll be there very soon. Thank you very much, Wisconsin.
Ladies and gentlemen, the event has ended. If you'd like to support the president,